In today's video, we are going to handle fractions, and we have a question. Charles spent a quarter of his net January salary on school fees. He spent a quarter of the remainder on electricity and water bills. He spent 1/9 of what was left on transport. If he finally had 3,400 shillings, what was his net salary? So we are going to handle this fraction, and the way to go about, we are going to handle it partially. So we are going to start with the first sentence until where there is a full stop, second sentence, and then until where there is a full stop. That will be the way forward in which we are going to handle this fraction. So Charles spent a quarter of his net salary, of his net January salary, on school fees. So we are going to take a quarter for school fees. A quarter, that one was on school fees. He spent a quarter of the remainder on electricity and water bills. So we have got a quarter of the remainder. We have got a quarter of the remainder. A quarter of the remainder on electricity and water bills. That was what was spent on electricity and water bills. And then again, he spent 1/9 of what was left on transport. Another 1/9 of what was left simply means the remainder. So it's 1/9 of another remainder. That is what was spent on transport. If he finally had 3,400 shillings, what was his net salary? So after spending all this, he remained with 3,400 shillings. What was his net salary? So after spending a quarter, to start with, we are going to assume that his net salary was 4/4. We let the net salary to be 4/4. We are going to subtract a quarter which has been spent. Since these are fractions which have the same denominator, we are going to subtract them. We are going to subtract them directly. So this one is going to remain 3/4. So after spending a quarter, Charles remains with 3/4. But remember, electricity and water bills, a quarter of what remained was what was spent. So a quarter of the remainder, which is 3/4, is going to be 3/16. So what was spent on electricity and water bills is 3/16. Electricity and water. So he spent a quarter of the remainder of electricity and water bills. He spent 1/9 of what was left on transport. Let us go back and look at the net spending. The net spending now is a quarter plus 3/16. This one is going to be, the LCM here is 16. 4 goes into 16 4 times. If you multiply by 1, 4 plus 16 ones. So this one is 7/16. After spending on school fees, and spending on electricity and water bills, he has spent a total fraction of 7/16. He has spent a total fraction of 7/16. So we assume that the total fraction is 16/16. Then we subtract 7/16 to get the remainder. These are the fractions with the same denominators, so we subtract them directly. 16 minus 7, we are going to get 9. 16 minus 7, we are going to get 9. So 9/16 is what remained after spending a quarter on school fees and spending 3/16 on electricity and water bills. So this is what was remaining. So 1/9, he spent 1/9 of what was left on transport. He spent 1/9 on what was left on transport. So 1/9 of 9/16, 1/9 of 9/16 16, that one is going to be 9, cancels with the 9. We are going to remain with 1 over 16. So 1 over 16 is what was spent on transport. Let us go back again and look at the net spending. He has spent a quarter on school fees. He has spent a quarter on school fees. That one is here. And then he has spent 3 over 16. He has spent 3 over 16 on electricity and water. So we are going to add that one here. 3 over 16. And again, he has spent 1 over 16 on transport. He has spent 1 over 16 on transport plus 1 over 16. The LCM is 16. 4 goes into 16 4 times, plus 16 here once, times 3 is 3, plus 1. 4 plus 3 is 7, that one is 8 over 16, which is the same as half. So after spending, he has spent a total of half. So we assume that the total salary now, we take the total salary to be 2 over 2. If we subtract half, we are going to get half. Now this half here represents what remained. If we finally had 3,400, this half represents 3,400. We want the net salary. We were told to find what was his net salary. So we assume that the net salary was represented by a fraction which is 2 over 2. We assume that the next salary was represented a fraction which is 2 over 2. So if half represents 3,400 shillings, that is half which was remain. Now 2 over 2, which is the net salary, will represent 2 over 2 times 3,400 shillings. 2 over 2 times 3,400 shillings times the reciprocal, which is 2 over 1. These ones cancels, and then if we multiply that one, you are going to get the net salary as 6,800 shillings. We are going to get the net salary as 6,800 shillings. So this is the final answer, guys. Thank you. If you find the video good, please like, share with your friends so that they can also benefit, and please subscribe to our channel. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. Help us reach that one before the end of this year. Thank you.